this was really important for Sweden to stay in the game because that was 2 tributes for Russia.
In 2 words or fewer, standard map or chaotic map next?
Standard. It is too important of a series still to really get that first seed to be trolling around.
Bakery?
More standard. Like, take the Vikings out, and I think Sweden have a great chance.
Well, we are going to Infernal Shrines as our next map, so we are sticking with that standard. So this was either Sweden just committing and saying, we're fine to play whatever, just give us first pick, or it was Sweden saying, we still feel comfortable with standard, then this is the map we want to do it on.
And the thing is, I'm not sure about you, Bakery, but it looked to me like there was a very large number of missed plays individually by the Swedish team. A lot of Muradin Storm Bolts not really going off. The isolation being used when there was no enemy hero nearby. Is it nerfs or is it just them not having the same synergy as you would expect them to have?
It's weird. We've seen this time and time again with this Swedish team where they are not performing like the synergized unit that we expected out of such a well-respected esports country as Sweden is. So I think going forward, Sweden's main focus for improvement has to be getting better as a team rather than getting better as individuals, and that's what's going to clean up their player-to-player problems.
And they will have time, like we said, they're already in the playoffs. Even if they don't make it out in first today, they have the opportunity to take the time in between now and the playoffs to practice as a team as we head into the draft and Russia removing Tassadar.
Tassadar no longer in the mix. Definitely not a bad choice. I mean, we saw what a Tassadar could do the last time we played on Infernal Shrines. The Psystorm build, Sign Fusion, such a strong talent. It offers so much utility and damage at the same time.
And so, Sweden, right now, a little bit on the back foot, but there's still a chance for them. And if you believe that they have that chance, you can use the code in chat, #SEWIN, to vote for Sweden as the victor in this group. Or if you think that Russia are going to be able to close this out with a 2-0, you can use the code #RUWIN.
Okay, I'm judging from what we've seen in game number 1. I really have to give it to Russia. We were kind of worried about them performing as well as they could have. I think here they really showed their full potential because without a doubt, Sweden is one of the tougher nuts to crack here in this tournament.
I mean, honestly, they kind of took that game without breaking too much of a sweat.
Yeah, exactly.
Even the core attempt, they just got a kill out of nowhere onto the hacker, and then another one, and then the game was over.
Yeah, even the Li Ming resets that the fight you highlighted in the replay, that was the only real issue they had throughout that entire series.
And it never really got to the point where Li Ming had free reign over the entire battle like Mana did when Poland was playing. So
exactly,
very limited effect overall by the Swedish team. I'm really curious to see if they're going to fall back on that true double support, which they have always done up to this point in the tournament, take a win, and maybe take the series from there.
We're starting off with something special. No, I'm joking. It's Rhaegar, the standard of standard supports coming in for Team Russia. And Sweden, if we go by tradition, it would be Greymane and ETC, but Greymane has already been removed. So, ETC and potentially what else, guys?
Possibly a Sonya. She's been creeping up there. She pairs very well with Rhaegar, but of course is strong against him as well. We see Gul'dan though.
Gul'dan, very good poke damage, very nice damage over time as well. Rhaegar's an okay support against it, but no matter what, you can't undervalue Horrify.
And Knuti is a really good ranged assassin. I'm pretty sure that he's going to play that Gul'dan. He knows how to play that hero very well. We've seen it in the past. And more importantly, Gul'dan goes into the same direction of, let's say, a Chromie and a Stukov. He offers a lot of control near those choke points. He can drop huge AoE damage, potentially stealing Infernal Punishers away from the enemy team. I like it. And let's not forget about Horrify, big playmaker.
Big playmaker indeed, potentially one of the biggest playmaking abilities alongside his new partner, the ETC, with that mosh pit. Now, Bakery, you were talking about the Sonya earlier. It does come in for Team Russia though, and they also bring out an Anub'arak.
Yeah, I think Sweden should have been expecting the Sonya here, as I was mentioning. It pairs so well with the Rhaegar, and it's so good on this map. It almost always secures you the Shrine team fight, and it gives you fantastic potential to just end the game with Punishers, which is something most teams struggle with, as the Czech Republic showed us earlier.
So what are your thoughts about the Anub'arak here? Like, obviously we know spell armor against a Gul'dan is always welcome, but what other advantages would make him be picked here?
As long as we don't see weird beetle talons in the middle of the talent build, I think...
There was actually a tweet about that. It was a misclick.
Okay, okay. So honor has been partly restored,
yes.
You know? Okay. No, in all seriousness, though, Anub'arak is fantastic. I really do like him a lot here against that. Multiple ways to interrupt potential ETC plays. It is good against the Gul'dan. You said it. The magic armor helps out a lot. And Cocoon, with the aggressive playstyle that Russian teams oftentimes like to run, is exactly their alley.
Mr. Bannerbear isn't B-guy, but he's, of course, very strong. And I do think Anub is a hero that will suit him very well. The entire Russian style of going in, being aggressive, controlling the pace of the game is something that Anub'arak excels at.
And we see Brightwing and Arthas coming in for Team Sweden. So they've got their double front line.
Yep.
They have their very likely solo damage dealer in the form of Gul'dan, because Brightwing, she's a very good healer, but she might need a little help to keep Gul'dan alive, because he is not made of the sturdiest stuff, despite being an orc.
Don't underestimate the tankiness of a Gul'dan, though.
Yeah,
we saw that in multiple games against the Genji when his drain life was actually a really good tool to keep him alive and even force the Genji back.
And in the one time where he actually drained through a deflect and nearly died.
Yeah. That's, of course, a possibility, for sure.
I'm remembering, too, in the Spider Queen, Finland takes up on that top lane, 1v1 in Grey Main, and life-stealing back who survives. Like, it can never be underestimated what a Gul'dan can do with that Consume Soul and, of course, Drain Life.
Yeah, you talked about the Consume Soul, which... Oh, okay.
Oh,
but
whoa,
ignore my previous point as we go for the double elves, and we see Sylvanas, War Chief of the Horde, coming in for Team Russia, and Kael'thas, the Sun Prince, coming in as well. So that's a lot of potential spread damage from the two heroes.
That is poke galore, if you will. They have very little damage on paper here to follow up on the hard engaged warriors, but then again, Kael'thas does have a lot of damage if spread correctly and concentrated correctly.
And you have to remember, he also has CC, so if ETC gets caught out position, or Brightwing, or even the Arthas, stun after stun after stun, and a lot of damage coming in.
And we talked about, sorry Tetra, we talked about Malfurion being oftentimes a little bit of a liability when it comes to shutting down ETC mosh pits because he walks in too close and gets you know, in the dance party, but Sylvanas oftentimes function as a long-range Twilight Dream, so I can really see the Wailing Arrow having a lot of potential value.
Sylvanas, one of Kuni-chan's favorite heroes of all time, and as he replied to me on Twitter earlier, he loves the way that she plays with mobility and her, of course, high damage.
So Bakery, what is your favorite part about Sylvanas' kit?
Definitely not disabling structures, I can tell you that much.
But we can't undervalue disabling structures in this particular matchup, because if you look at Russia's comp, if they win a Punisher, which they have a good chance of doing with Sonya and Kael'thas, they have a huge amount of punishing potential. That was not an intentional pun. Punishing potential with that Punisher, disabling structures, and then they have a noob to potentially dive in deeper to punish anyone who is defending.
A noob is a fantastic hero to be on the flank, and as we saw a lot in this tournament, tanks going around, coming from the flank, going behind forts, maybe getting 3-man mosh pits, is very effective. So that's what I want to see from Bannerbear if he is indeed playing that noob. I want to see him go behind. I want to see him create a lot of space for the Sonya and Sylvanas combo to wreak havoc on the structures.
We do, however, see the Karazim as the final pick for Sweden. Pressure for that Sylvanas, for that Kael'thas,
for the
and
Anub'arak.
Potential follow-up damage. The Anub'arak as well. Anub'arak, very spell armor heavy, and Karazim, a lot of damage. Who are you voting for?
I prefer Sweden's comp, but I think Russia is such a strong team as they showed last game. My vote's on them.
I'm an Alliance player by heart, but I really want to see Sylvanas succeed, so I'm going with Russia.
I am also very much behind the potential snowball of that Russian comp, so I will be joining my two compatriots on this desk as we head into game number 2 between Russia and Sweden. And Kendrick, potentially for the last time in this series, who is on the left?
Let's make it a good one. Let's make it a game for Team Sweden with Knutti on that Gul'dan. We have Skok on the Arthas. Henning plays the Karazim. Rask is playing the ETC. And last but not least, we have Daikarn on the Fair Dragon on Brightwing.
Whereas on the right-hand side, it is going to be Team Russia with Kuni-chan on that Sylvanas, unstable, playing the Kael'thas. We have ZW Hydra on the Anub'arak, and in the bot lane, it's Mr. Bannerbear on Sonya and Krook on the Rhaegar. And we have a very passive first few seconds of the game as teams hide in bushes.
Yeah, and I can tell you exactly why they're doing that, because they want to wait where Sylvanas is going to show herself. If you show yourselves too early as the opposing team, Sylvanas could potentially surprise you on the opposite lane with a 4-man push, take down a tower very quickly, and boom. That's already a big drawback.
Instead, what we see is a Sylvanas, at least for a little bit, solo lane. Sylvanas versus Arthas, the lore-friendliest of solo lanes. And in this matchup, traditionally, Sylvanas hasn't done too terribly lore-wise. But this is also, in terms of game mechanics, not a matchup that has gone well. Actually, I think it's 1-1 if we go by Warcraft 3.
I would still lean towards Arthas. He made her undead in the first place.
He made her undead, and then she nearly killed him via poison, nearly preventing him from getting to that Lich King armor in the first place.
And then she lost to Anduin in the new cinematic. Hey!
We never saw the ending of that. And what did Anduin do? He revived like 20 people. Big deal. Sylvanas killed like 3. It's total value. As we do see, for now, he's holding the lane relatively well. Does have to dodge Scar though. And nice. This is good game sense. The potential of Rask ganking there with Rask missing on the minimap. That was really good game sense by Sylvanas.
And Bakery said it during the draft. Kuni-chan loves his Sylvanas. So it's going to be a special pleasure to watch him perform on one of his comfort picks. And a well-played Sylvanas, despite the fact that she may not be part of the immediate competitive meta, can still do a lot of things, not just in terms of sieging, but also in terms of actually bullying people in teamfights.
We haven't actually mentioned some of the level 1 talents here. We have the Mana Addict for Kael'thas.
Get this.
Scar in danger. Kuni-chan facing forward with the help of Krug and Bannerbeer, but Scar is just too tanky. But now this tower is in serious danger. Yeah, we have the Mana Addict Sylvanas with the Dreadful Wake, which is how she's been able to hold this lane. She's not really going to be able to out-sustain Scar. All she has to do is to hold back the minions. That's actually what we saw as the double root comes in with the power slide. Krug is going to go down. He just commits to more tower damage, but that does allow Bannerbeer to escape.
Yeah, and of course the Arcane Punisher is now being unleashed. Only Hydra defending this bottom lane. Nice. And, oh, that was a nice, funky dodge here, by the way. Really well done. And look how fast this Punisher goes down with only one hero defending against it. And so you can really see, and you can really see how the Russian team was trying to get value elsewhere with that Sylvanas. And I think partly they were actually successful. Unfortunately, they lost Rhaegar in the process.
Unstable leaving the lane a little bit early there due to the fact that 1, the Punisher was already dead, and 2, he was dying to Arcane Sentinels, so he did have to move there. And by the way, Kendrick, we have some redemption attempts for Anub'arak here. We see the Underking coming in at level 4.
Which makes a lot more sense than Legion of Beetles, but we basically talked about it. It was a misclick, so happens to the best of us. In the meantime, let's take a look at Kael'thas' talent build here as well. He does go for Convection. That stuff is only of the Tales for Hero League. It is indeed the Mana Addict, a very safe choice, and especially when you face double Warrior, when there's a little bit of hard engage going on in the first place, or if you just want to have more mana for longer team fights, which in the competitive scene is more likely going to be the case. It is such a good talent.
And we also have the Netherwind, great long-range engage potential. And the cooldown reduction means it's more likely to be up often to interrupt that ETC mosh pit.
And it looks like both teams are going relatively ham on the respective side lanes. Top lane being sieged up by Team Russia, whereas bottom is going to get taken out by Team Sweden.
Look at this Sylv bouncing back and forth between the 4 and the tower, keeping both disabled, alternating auto attacks. And as such, they're able to take down both without taking a single hit.
Yep. Now keep in mind, I do like this trait a little bit more for Team Russia, because top lane normally is the lane where the Fallen Shamans are going to push from. So now, if Fallen Shamans are being unlocked, they will going to pressure the top lane immediately with that keep.
We see the Subterranean Shield for ZW Hydra. Corruption build with that Hunger for Power, by the way, for Gul'dan. We see Sylvanas with Barb Shot and the Lost Souls on level 4. Sonya committing to Poison Spear, and in terms of Kael'thas, we are seeing Burned Flesh. And this is great against the double tank lineup when both of the supports require people to be near them to get the healing.
Yeah, definitely true. And in those shrine areas, it is more likely for enemies to group up a lot because they try to focus on the same skeleton. So, as you said, the Burned Flesh could get a lot of additional value, and especially with those later Flamestrike talents, like the Fury of the Sunwell, for example, or the Flamethrower at level 20, it has really decent synergy.
Yep, Flamethrower is mostly the go-to talent on this on Kael'thas at level 20. But we have seen on the odd occasion alternate talents here as Ras takes a Living Bomb. Flame Strike not getting a huge amount, but they are currently ahead, 30 to 24 in favor of Russia as they continue to siege onto the point. Kunichan dropping some extra damage onto Ras here.
Unstable, dropping another Flame Strike from a sneaky angle, but slowly but surely. Oh, they got it. Okay, I was going to say, slowly but surely Team Sweden was out-trading the Russian team here, simply because their range, their melee heroes were so threatening. Is Banabir actually going to make it? Yes, he is. Big win for Team Russia.
Clutch Spear getting out. They get the Punisher. They are able to push in with this. And guess what? They have Sylvanas, but she is going to ditch here. Because Sonya's so low, because Kael'thas isn't here, they are backing up, letting the Punisher grab a tower or two, and they're going to grab towers elsewhere. They want to try and hit level 10 ASAP.
They're trying to go for safe and easy structures rather than risking something in the middle with that fort, which more than likely wouldn't have fallen in the first place. So instead, they rotate to the bottom. They try to get a couple more towers there, and they successfully took one out. And level 10 is now here. The Wailing Arrow, the Wrath of the Berserker. Kael'thas is still holding to it. He wants to check out what the enemies have to offer.
Yeah, I'm wondering what would be the prompt here. Is Palm the
absolutely
prompt?
Yep.
He goes seven-sided, and Kael'thas, is that enough? Is that enough for commit?
It is!
Blast is gonna be coming in here, along with Ancestral Healing and the Cocoon, whereas Sweden, they also have very high damage potential. Seven-sided Strike and the Mosh Pit and Horrify and Emerald Wind. They have so much control in these fights.
However, this is still a risky pick by Kael'thas. You take a look at the Swedish team. Okay, you don't want to cast on the Warriors necessarily. They're pretty beefy. That leaves 3 heroes in the open. Right wing, Ice Block later on.
Has to.
Karazim, 7-sided Strike potentially. Gul'dan, he is probably going to be the most valuable target. But even if it is landing on the Gul'dan, guess what? Brightwing has the Pixie Dust. She reduces so much of the value of the Pyroblast. So I'm really curious to see how the Russian team is going to utilize that heroic ability.
As am I. It will be interesting to see. Potentially combo it with the Wailing Arrow is the play here to interrupt, to try and deny that Pixie Dust. We'll have to see if they're able to pull off what is going to be a very difficult combo if that is what they're going for.
And then we also have the Cocoon available, right? So Hydra could throw the Brightwing into the Cocoon.
They have the tools, just a question of whether they have the synergy and the play to do so.
They definitely need to have spot-on execution to really get any value from the Pyroblast, which ironically also has a very long cooldown. So if you mistime that ability, you're going to have to wait for a long time until it's ready again.
So high risk versus high reward heroic. If you hit it, it chunks. If you don't, or if it's counterplayed, then that's a big cooldown, and the zoning potential from Phoenix you could have got is not there.
Yeah, nice placement by the Healing Totem, but really good knockback by Rask. Once again, he needs to be careful now, though, not to spread the Living Bombs. And there is so much zoning going out here in general with those AoE abilities. Banana Bear could be in trouble, though.
Banabig is taken out, 7-sided, mostly hitting Hydra. Horrify. Down goes Kael'thas, and Hydra in full retreat, 2 for 1 in favor of Sweden. 2 for 0, sorry.
I have never seen a Sonya be exposed like that. He didn't even use Wrath of the Berserker. Normally, when you realize, uh-oh, the enemy team might attack me soon, you pop the Wrath of the Berserker, you take advantage of the reduced CC time onto you while in that form. I really don't know what went wrong for Team Russia here.
Yeah, well, they are currently very much losing this objective as Sweden will take a Punisher here. And guess what? This lane's open. They killed it earlier.
Yeah. Bottom lane is definitely open, and that is a big swing of momentum now in favor of Team Sweden. They don't even push with this Punisher. They realize that Russia is going to be busy occupied anyways with at least 2 or 3 heroes defending in the bottom. They want more value. They want to open mid, they want to open top, and they want to snowball from there.
Also, just quickly, talent reactions from Sweden, the Ice Block, the actual...
Of course.
Rasmus to escape. We see the Spell Shield for the Karazim. We even see, I believe, the Spell Armor Gul'dan. So they are 100% reacting to this Pyroblast here.
And this is such a weakness of Pyroblast in general. I mean, you could also argue that maybe Pyroblast alone forced heroes on the side of Team Sweden to overreact and take so much magic resistance, but
the issue is most of the rest of their damage is also magic, except for Sonya auto-attacks.
Exactly, so all of a sudden Team Sweden is looking so resilient against the Sylvanas and the Kael'thas that Russia brought to the table here.
So, Sylvanas with her teleport reset the Wind Runner coming in at level 13, allowing for that double teleport, and of course refreshing her black arrows here so that she can, Withering Fire, sorry, so that she can clear lanes, kill heroes potentially. Wailing Arrow is committed to this, and the Emerald Wind though, allowing her to escape. Cocoon is popped, and Ryving will survive as well. Now Russia not getting the kill, down goes a noob, and it's a disaster.
Russia just got schooled here in that choke point. Brightwing's timing was immaculate. She arrived in the nick of time, dropping the Emerald Wind immediately, providing the cleanse if need be as well, the magic armor. That was beautiful, and Brass is gonna have a good time.
By Kael'thas, he's glad he does not have convection as that mosh pit catches him just on the lip, and we see Sweden with now over a full level lead.
Yeah, definitely true, and this is exactly the Team Sweden that we wanted to see. For some weird reason, it always takes them one game to wake up. That happened to Portugal, that happened in the last couple of moments we saw them. They always looked they looked a little bit weak in the early game, but in game 2 here, they're fully awake, they woke up, and they show us some good Heroes of the Storm.
Yes, they do. And with the next objective spawning in the mid lane, guess what? Sweden's already opened it. They killed it off earlier. So now, if they want to, the last time this happened, they moved up to mid lane. This time, they can either move up to top lane to get themselves yet another fort and try and guarantee level 16, or if they can get 16 while getting this Punisher, which is a big possibility, they can try and push with it.
Absolutely, and here we see the shrine to be opened and activated. Russia is nowhere near to get level 16. They can't even use Sylvanas right now because all the lanes were deeply pushed in, and as such, it took so long for them to really even get close to the enemy buildings. And Sweden, I think, is going to be able to clear the shrine relatively quickly, denying any further value from Team Russia.
On the right side, Unstable does clear out top, and Kuni-chan is being annoying.
Yeah, but
she expected someone else to be down here, but the fact is there isn't. Arthas is on his way, but Sylvanas burning a lot of time that she could have been setting up. To be fair, she will arrive in time for the defense, so actually she doesn't lose too much.
Yeah, that is definitely a good point. I mean, we know more than the players do because we have the all...
Yeah, we are the gods of this realm.
Exactly. So it was a nice reaction. I think it's better here for Kuni-chan to play too careful rather than to be too reckless, because if he had died... There we go. Is that the bait? Oh, beautiful bait here with the Haunting Wave.
As we see, this is a Frost Punisher. The root's very scary, especially on someone like Unstable, who is potentially very squishy if he gets caught.
All right, the Punisher has been dealt with just like that. And as we said earlier, only the true late-game Punisher will be the decisive one. Even here now, after 13 minutes, doesn't really do too much if the bait over the wall, of course, is successful.
So we have yet to see the Pyroblast really coming to bear. We've seen a single Wailing Arrow, and it was not able to actually pick up a kill so far. Russia, their combo is made to snowball, but they're fighting from behind.
In fact, we have yet to see a beautiful ulti combo altogether by Russia.
Yes.
As you said, the Wailing Arrow so far hasn't really convinced us. Miru, sneaky plays by Russia.
Rogue committing to this. He puts the lightning bonds on this, and this will guarantee them the fort. They also have Impalas, which will pressure onto that mid fort as well. Sylvanas already back. Rhaegar will arrive shortly. Hydra very, very early on that engage. Kael'thas gets horrified, and that's a big part of the defense. However, ETC was dropped quite low here.
And that's what happens when your main support is not there in time. The Ancestral couldn't land. It's now 4 versus 5, and Team Sweden is trying to end things right here.
The cleanse is good. Sonya gets Ancestral, but she's still focused down. Rhaegar is rooted here. He's dropping in health, and Sweden pick up yet another kill. Kuni-chan is dropping everything he can to try and do enough damage to prevent this being a core attempt.
This could very well be a core attempt. 25 seconds until Sonya comes back. 30 seconds for Rhaegar. They are doing it, and with those warriors, they have enough damage.
Last second, Pyroblast or Flame Strike to try and save the game. Flame Strike will grab 2. The Burnt Flesh is good. The last chance defense for Russia here, but down goes the Sylvanas. That's a big chunk of the damage. Flame Strikes are not landing, and that is going to be GG. Pyroblast very nearly got activated at the end there, but that is going to be Sweden bringing us to a 1-1.
We're having ourselves another Game 3 on the 6th day of the Nexus Games, and what a show it has been this time around for the Swedish fans out there and, of course, the Swedish players. This was exactly what we wanted to see in Game 1.
Yeah, absolutely. And we mentioned that the Russia backline might be a bit weak, and that definitely showed. Sweden abusing that to its fullest potential and in control of the game the entire way through.
Yeah, and despite the fact that Russia were able to get the early objectives, they did not snowball as hard as they would want to with a Sylvanas comment. The second they fell behind, it was basically all over.
It also looked like the two playstyles really didn't fit together. On the one hand, you had hardcore engage with that Anubrek going in, the Sonya following up, and then you had this weird poking backline with Kel'Thas and Sylvanas, and it really looked like their synergy overall wasn't really there. The Pyroblast, I haven't seen a single one go down.
Yeah, he tried to cast it at the end and the core died before the channel finished, so was not able to do so. Bakery, what have you got to show us?
So I've only got one replay for you guys today, and that is the key turning point of the game. So as we get into it, we see Sonya, she kind of hid it up here, kind of like she reveals herself, and Scoff knows he can force Ancestral. But look at Rask and Kruglik completely zoning out the Veigar, and Sonya just ends up going down without a cleanse, heal, or Ancestral. Now the fear was absolutely huge from Canuti, forcing Kunachan to walk away, no chance to use Wailing Arrow, and Kel'Thas to run straight into the enemy team to his death. A good cocoon by Hydra probably saves more deaths from happening, but that's when Sweden, they were neutral, they took control there, and they never gave it up.
They didn't. And I really have to say, if the Swedish team can perform like they did in game number 2 again, it's going to be lights out for Russia in this series. Everything seemed to have worked, especially the Gul'dan. We talked about Knuti being such an important pillar for his team to fall back on. I think he really surprised and convinced me here in this game.
The Horrifiers were very good by Nuti, but we are not done yet. We still have one more game in this series and then one more series after that. So we're going to head to a very quick break, and when we come back, it will be game number 3 between Sweden and Russia.